Hey everybody, welcome to Crack-A-Pack Tuesday number 58 on the Mana Leak. I'm John as always, and we've got ourselves another pack of Shadows. There's not a terribly large number of weeks left, something like 6 or 7 more weeks I think, and then we are done with Shadows, and we're into Eldritch Moon set reviews. So make sure you stay tuned for that, but for now we're going to open this pack, see what's in it, and figure out what we would take pack 1, pick 1 if this was a draft. Up first, we've got ourselves a Cathar's Companion. Cathar's Companion's 2 and a white for a creature hound. It's a 3/1, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Cathar's Companion gains indestructible until end of turn. I haven't really seen that go off. I know I've used it one time, maybe 2, and I think I've seen my opponent use it maybe once. It's just not something that really happens. It's really just a 3/1 for 3, which is a little bit expensive. Definitely not a first pick, and you should cut it if you have something better. If you're in a super aggressive deck, it's fine, but it's not something you should be looking to desperately keep in your main deck. Up next, we've got a Stitched Mangler. Stitched Mangler is 2 and a blue for a creature zombie horror. It's a 2/3. Enters the battlefield tapped, and when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its next untap step. Totally fine card. I would first pick it in a really weak pack. Hopefully this pack isn't as weak as last week's pack was. But yeah, I would consider first picking it, and I would always main deck it if I was blue. I would main deck the second one too. It can hang out for now in the first pick frame, just so we have something here, but I will replace it pretty quickly if some better stuff comes along. Better stuff like, not a Militant Inquisitor. 2 and a white for a 2/3 creature human cleric. It gets +1/+0 for each equipment you control. If you're green-white humans, or maybe black-white humans-ish, and you have a few equipment, sure. If you really need a creature, sure, but it's not really something you should go out of your way for, just like the Cathar's Companion. Not first pickable, but main deckable if you need. Up next, we've got a Loam Dryad. Loam Dryad is a single green mana for a creature Dryad Horror, so it doesn't get flipped by Thing in the Ice. It's a 1/2. Tap an untapped creature you control. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It's fine. It fixes your mana a little bit. It's okay in some slower decks, but generally I avoid those decks in this format because the fast decks will punish you heavily if you don't get your plan going fast enough. Loam Dryad I'm generally out on. Certainly not a first pick, though. Next up, we have a Strength of Arms. Strength of Arms is a single white mana for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control an equipment, then you get a 1/1 human soldier token on the battlefield, which is fine. This is a fine combat trick. I certainly like Aim High and even Survive the Night a little bit more than this. It's one of the weaker combat tricks, but if you need a combat trick, here it is. Certainly not a first pick. Next up, we have Howlpack Wolf. Howlpack Wolf is 2 and a red for a 3/3 wolf. Howlpack Wolf can't block unless you control another wolf or werewolf. This is fine in generally any aggressive red deck. Obviously does significantly better if you're in red-green wolves. Not first pickable. You can get these whenever you want them, and you generally don't want to play more than 1 or 2 of them at most. But yeah, Howlpack Wolf, not first pickable, but playable. Next up, we have Vessel of Nascency. Vessel of Nascency is a single green for an enchantment. Pay 1 and a green, sacrifice Vessel of Nascency, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard. This is an amazing Delirium enabler. You can enable Delirium in a single go with this thing, because it puts itself in, and if you hit 3 card types and you take a 4th, then you've got Delirium on turn 2. Really powerful, really, really, really important for black-green Delirium, black-green Delirium, not for black-white Delirium. You can't play this in black-white without splashing. But yeah, totally fine card. You can first pick it if you really want to go hard Delirium, but I'd prefer not to. So far, this pack's looking a little bit weak, so I guess it can stay in frame for the time being as well. Next up, we have Twins of Mauer Estate. Twins of Mauer Estate is 4 and a black for a 3/5 vampire that has Madness for 2 and a black. This is fine if you play it for its full cost, and it's great if you play it for your Madness cost. I would never really want to first pick this. Yeesh. This pack. There's some bad packs in Shadows of Innistrad. Yeah, it can have a place for now in the terrible first pick row. But yeah, I generally would not want to first pick it. I'll almost always play it, but I wouldn't be looking to first pick it. Into the uncommons, we've got ourselves a Nahiri's Machinations. Nahiri's Machinations is 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Pay 1 and a red, Nahiri's Machinations deals 1 damage to target blocking creature. So the intent here is to make a creature that you can attack in with that your opponents will chump block or just attempt to match it or something like that. And then you can pay in a bunch of red mana to hopefully ping it off and finish it off. Never really gets there. This card just has not really shown up at all. People were really jazzed about this on the set review, and yeah, it just never has really come together. I would avoid Nahiri's Machinations. I wouldn't be first picking it, and I really wouldn't even be playing it, to be honest. Oncoming number 2, we have Skeleton Key. Skeleton Key is a single generic mana for an artifact equipment. Equip cost of 2. Equipped creature has Skulk, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So you get to loot. It's fine. I've never really seen it put to too much use. Whenever I've seen it actually do a lot of good and get a lot of card draw, the opponent was winning anyways, or the person beside me was winning anyways. Not really a card I'm going to go out of my way to play. If it was in sealed, I might, but in draft, I'm not wasting a pick on this. Certainly not first pick. Last uncommon, save us, Call the Bloodline. Well, that's not too bad. Call the Bloodline is 1 and a black for an enchantment. Pay 1, discard a card, put a 1/1 black vampire knight creature token with lifelink onto the battlefield. Activate this ability only once each turn. Now that's each turn. Your turn, your opponent's turns, all the turns, just once each turn. Really cool card. Does a lot of good with some additional support with an aristocrat or something like that. But yeah, it's fine enough. I have first picked this, and it didn't really go off for me. It is slightly glass cannon-y. You do have to get exactly everything working perfectly. So I'm a little bit less all in on Call the Bloodline these days. It's definitely still powerful, and it's definitely still useful if you can get the parts, but you got to be careful. It can stay in the first pick frame for now as well. Onto our rare, we get a Game Trail. It's a land. Makes red-green mana. It comes in untapped if you show a forest or a mountain when you play it. Big whoop. We're not going to first pick a rare land basically ever unless we're really desperately value drafting. So Game Trail, get out of there. Our flip card, Gatstaff Arsonist, 4 and a red for a creature human werewolf. It's a 5/4. When it flips, it becomes a 6/5 menace. Not first pickable, sometimes not even playable, but it's fine, but it's not going to be in the discussion today. We also have we have a foil common. Reduced to Ashes, 4 and a red for a sorcery. Reduced to Ashes deals 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. I generally don't like this card anymore. It's so slow at sorcery speed. It's just not what I'm looking to do. But it can hang out in this terrible, terrible pack. This is bad. I don't even know what I would take here. It honestly is kind of a question. Do I want to go vampires? Do I want to go... what weird archetype combo do I feel like going? The safest pick, I think, maybe would be the Reduced to Ashes. It's removal, but it's not great removal. It's super slow. It's just not good. But I think that's the safe pick. The pick that I think I would do would be the Vessel of Nascency and go really hard into Delirium. But yeah, this is a horrendous pack. Yeah, I think ultimately I will go for Vessel of Nascency. The really hard Delirium decks have some significant power behind them, and I've been very, very happy with them. I would not fault anybody for taking Call the Bloodline. I have seen really good things go with that, but I've also seen really bad things go with it. But I think ultimately I've talked myself into it enough. I'm going to go for the Vessel of Nascency in what I believe is one of the worst packs I've ever seen. Let me know what you would have taken out of this worst pack ever. Would you have taken the Call the Bloodline, the Reduced to Ashes, the Twins, the Mangler, the Vessel, the Nahiri's Machinations? Would you have just thrown your hands up and rare drafted the land for the few dollars that it's worth? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at The Mana Leak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Mana Leak, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/The Mana Leak. You've already found me here on YouTube. Make use of that comment section. If you enjoy my videos, click that little thumbs up icon to let me know that you like the videos, to let YouTube know that you like the videos, and you should also subscribe if you haven't. That way you can keep on top of all the latest videos as they get posted. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.